could have easily changed his mind and backed out of his divine commitment to death, burial, and resurrection, though there was no guarantee the resurrection would even happen. We'd be hard-pressed, see what I did there, to find fault in a man who refused to go into a situation that ensured a tortuous, horrific death. He could have gone into hiding, living out his days as a carpenter somewhere where no one knew his name. And yet, when Jesus was pressed to the point of blood under the extreme stress of his pending march to the cross, his choice was to accept his path and submit to the future God asked of him. I've often thought of Jesus' agony at Gethsemane as I observed my friend Jay. In the midst of intense fear and uncertainty, as he was pressed and crushed under the weight of his possible future, he showed us who he truly is, a man overflowing with the fruit of the Spirit. Time and again, through his work, his life, and his words, Jay, even as he was being pressed, exudes more love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I've always wondered how he did it. One day as we hiked together amid massive ponderosa pine trees, he told me how 2 Corinthians 12:8 had transformed his mindset. What you hold in your hands is a gift from a guide I deeply love, trust, and respect for how he has chosen to embrace the pressing imposed on his life. What could have crushed his spirit seemingly brought out the best of J. Hewitt. The vulnerability with which he writes showcases his pastoral heart and puts on display the faith he embodies even during the most challenging moments of his life. Whether you're currently walking through an unimaginable pressing of the Spirit or walking with someone who is, this book will encourage you, inspire hope, and pastor you as you face adversity head-on. May Jay's words inspire you to cultivate the kind of faith that when you are being pressed, crushed, or stressed, allows for the best fruit to come forth from your one and only life. Steve Carter, author of The Thing Beneath the Thing.
Prologue. You've got to ask. Why me? At the age of 37, I was married to an incredible woman and raising a beautiful 3-year-old girl. I was leading a growing, vibrant, young Southern Californian church when the bottom dropped out on me. Why me was an obvious first question after being handed a frightening diagnosis. Terminal brain cancer. Why me? From the very first moment in the late spring of 2017, I've been processing and testing and adjusting as I sought to understand the purpose of my pain. Each question led to more questions. I would not give up my search for understanding. Eventually, I began to see more clearly how it's possible to be strong when weak and how to rejoice in suffering. The lessons God taught my soul have proven to be immensely valuable to me, and I believe this book will be equally valuable to you as you try to make sense of this crazy life. Are you seeking strength and resilience on the path to making your life count? Of course you are, but how? How do you become resilient? I want to help you discover the answer to that question, as I believe God has guided me. The journey starts by wrestling with God and your own self-doubt. You must be willing to ask hard questions of yourself and of God. I assume that right now you're facing something challenging that requires resilience. There's always something, isn't there? Your thing may or may not be more difficult than my thing, but hard is hard, and I'm convinced we can all do hard things. I'm also convinced that when hard times come, it's normal to ask yourself, why me? But if you're going to ask that question, you also have to ask, why not me? If you're going to ask why when something tragic happens, then you also have to ask why of the good stuff of life as well. Why am I the guy who, in my mid-30s, was diagnosed with incurable brain cancer? I'm a pastor, which makes some people really struggle when they find out that I have a terminal illness. Their sense of belonging to a universe of ordered justice is challenged. Why do bad things happen to good people, they ask. I don't feel that as a pastor, I should get any preferential treatment from the big guy upstairs, because I know all too well that holding the pastor title doesn't change my standing with God.